Good evening, everyone. Hello and welcome along to the Southwest Comedy Showcase, all part of the Plymouth Fringe Festival 2020. Yeah!
I'm Louisa. And I did the Southwest Comedy Showcase. I just had to remember the name of it. And it was just showcasing all of the comedy talent, which the up and coming comedy talent in like Plymouth and also like in Devon and Cornwall as well. Like all about, yeah.
So how did you find working with Plymouth Fringe, I suppose, as a start, doing it online rather than doing it in person?
I actually, in some ways, I kind of preferred it because this is like my first time of doing any sort of show of like helping to develop it or anything. So actually not having it in like a real setup kind of took some of the pressure off for me a little bit because I was just like able to just get on with doing whatever I wanted to do and like just editing like the clips that people sent to me, like for like comedy clips and stuff. And it was like, okay, I can just kind of, there's less stuff which could potentially go wrong, I think, or there are different things which could go wrong. But it's like, yeah, I guess if you have like an actual physical night, you know, you have to basically herd all of these people into the right place and stuff and kind of like, yeah, just herd control almost, just like, you know, make sure they're all doing what they're supposed to be doing. And yeah, I think part of the pressure of that was kind of taken away by doing it online. So it's quite a nice thing. It was quite nice to do it that way, like the first time I'd actually really done the thing.
Yeah. Did you have to do anything different for it to be like approaching it? Like, did you have to speak to artists maybe like more times than normal or anything like that?
Well, yeah, it's interesting because like the first pitch which I made was slightly different to what I actually ended up doing. So like the first idea I had was like more of like a competition sort of style of it, and then it kind of, when it went online, I was just like, I think it's more easy just to do it as a showcase thing. So it kind of, the type of thing that I was going for kind of changed. And then I think in terms of how often I talk to people, I guess mostly like you normally do it face to face, wouldn't you, really? And then, or you probably, yeah, so I think that was different, like not actually, like I've only met like some of the people who are in the showcase I only actually met after the festival finished, when I met up with them like a few weeks afterwards. So it was quite strange working with like the majority of the people who were in it I'd never met face to face before. So that was quite, it was quite interesting how you're like able to like make something that was quite good after having like never really met face to face before. It was quite weird. Like, yeah.
What do you think it was that inspired you to wanting to work with all of the comedians and then pull together like this comedy showcase?
Yeah, so basically like back in last September, yeah, a year ago, which is kind of insane. I did this comedy course in Brighton, the Jill Edwards comedy course, and I did that for 3 months. And so it was just like learning how to do stand-up comedy and that sort of thing. And then it ended in this like new act showcase at the end in like December, and that was like a really interesting experience to learn how like stand-up works. And then I came back to Plymouth after that in January, or like end of December, January time. And I'd heard from someone that I worked with briefly at the Theatre Royal that there were like open mic comedy nights happening at the Bread and Roses in Plymouth, a pub in Plymouth.
Yeah.
So I went to one of those, well, I went to a couple of those, and I got to know Christian, who runs that night, and he was also in the comedy showcase as well. And I think before then I hadn't realized that there were like lots of people who are newer and trying comedy and stuff in Plymouth, because I'd only seen like the more professional nights, so like the Plymouth Comedy Club nights and the B-Bar comedy nights and those sorts of things. So I didn't really know that I didn't know there was like a more accessible level where people could just come out and try it. And I found that, I don't know, I was kind of quite passionate about trying to develop an area, like a more of a scene where like more people could like find out about this and find out that they could just you know, turn up to this place and get a spot and like try something different. And yeah, so I was kind of like, the second I discovered it was there, I found out it was there, I was like, yeah, I want to, you know, I want to try and help develop this in any way I can, basically. Yeah, and I'd seen like lots of shows in the Plymouth Fringe for like the last few years that I've kind of lived here, and I always kind of wanted to be a part of it, but didn't really know exactly what sort of thing that I'd do for it, because, you know, I didn't. It's not like I've done acting before or anything like that, or done any sort of like theatre stuff really before. So I was just like, what's my angle here? What sort of thing would I do? And then, yeah, this like comedy stuff kind of just, I think it all kind of just came at the right time. And I was like, okay, this is something, so like a showcase for newer people in like the Southwest. That's something that I'm passionate about. That's something I can do. And I had like, yeah, I had kind of the confidence to just try it and see what kind of would happen from it. And yeah, it just got me in touch with like a lot of new people who I all really like. And yeah, the people who are doing comedy in Plymouth specifically, they're all really friendly, and it's quite a small knit community at the moment. So yeah, they're just all kind of like looking out for you and everything, and kind of really happy to just get involved in anything. So yeah, I think that gave me a lot of confidence just from the people I met to kind of like try something different, and yeah, try and showcase what Plymouth has to offer in terms of, yeah, the comedy scene.
Do you think you'd do it again, like do this kind of thing, like an online version rather than, or are you like itching to get back into
I think I'd like to try and do something like in reality again, because I think,
yeah.
but I think having stuff online is quite interesting as like an addition to like a live thing as well, because I think a lot of, say if you, for example, if you can't get into a venue because of mobility issues and stuff, or you've got some sort of disability or something, or other things which are kind of a barrier for you to get into a space or whatever, it's, I think having like a, say like a live stream option, I found that quite an interesting thing that kind of came to me after having done this, because it's like, oh, actually it is possible to make things more accessible to people. It's like you don't necessarily just have to be in that space on that day to be able to engage with it, which I was like, oh, okay, that could be quite an interesting thing to see if that will work alongside like live performance in the future. But I don't know.
How did like the artists and stuff find it? Did you hear much from them through it?
Yeah. Yeah, so so the guy that I got to host it, called David, he basically had to record all of his stuff quite live, because yeah, obviously he had to like respond to all of the acts who sent in their clips and everything, and he had to, you know, introduce like the show as a part of the festival and everything. And I mean, he's been doing comedy for like 10 years or so yeah, he's obviously like really competent at what he's doing, knows what he's doing, but he found that quite a strange experience, to be just recording himself in front of a camera with no audience. And it's just, I mean, he did really well, but it was like, it's, yeah, I can imagine it's a really strange thing to do just on your own. Like,
that's the thing with comedy, isn't it? Like you kind of want to bounce off of other people, but if
yeah,
you've not got
like,
you think, am I funny?
yeah. Yeah, well, it's so much based on like the feedback you get from the audience, which is why I think the showcase that I did, I think using clips from like previous gigs and stuff, I think that made it work a little bit better than if they'd all just been sending in clips that they'd done in their bedrooms, for example, which some people did, and that was fine. But yeah, I think it was nice to have like a couple of live gigs in there as well, because it kind of gave that audience feel to it. And I think that's something that comedy still really needs and stuff, to, yeah, make it feel like a good experience and stuff.
Yeah. Is there anything like that you'd take forward to it for like future stuff now that you've done it? Is there anything in hindsight you'd think, yeah, I'd remember that for next time?
I mean, I think one thing is like I'd probably try and learn more about like marketing stuff as well, because that's not the thing I'm best at. And I left it a bit late. And yeah, there's just like certain things like setting up an event on Facebook and stuff, which I set up under my own like Facebook profile and stuff. But because I did that, I couldn't, to get some of the hosts for the Facebook page, like for some of the other performers, they didn't use their own personal Facebook page. They wanted to use like their comedy Facebook page, for example, but I couldn't add them to host it because I was doing it on a personal account. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah, it's like little things like that, which I was like, I wouldn't have known that unless I'd done it. But now I'm like, okay, that's a little quirk on Facebook, for example, which it won't let me do if I do it that way. So I think, yeah, a couple of little things like that, which are just like, okay, I need to, yeah, a bit of a trial and error sort of thing. But now I kind of know how to do that a bit better than I used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you wanted to add in about how you found it at all?
It was a really just cool thing to get involved in, and just like, you know, it was really nice just to talk to and interact with people that I hadn't actually met before, and find like people that I really enjoyed seeing their stuff. Like there are a couple of people in there who, you know, either I'd only seen the once, or, you know, one of them, Alice Dukenfield, I hadn't seen her at all. And I just, yeah, it was just because I emailed her partner, just because he organises events in Cornwall, and then she was one of the ones that he suggested. And yeah, she was really great, and I was really happy that I kind of found out that she's a person who does comedy, because she's awesome. So yeah, it was really good just to see like all the sorts of different types of comedians about and everything. And yeah, I think it's definitely a good sign for comedy in the future down here as well. Like there's obviously a lot of stuff going on, which I feel like I'm only at the brink of seeing all of the stuff that's going on. So I think there's more to be found of everything. Like, yeah.
In hindsight, as well as that, is there anything else that you'd be thinking of?
Yeah, in terms of like how I would do the festival again, like if I was doing the showcase again in the future, I think I think making it as diverse as I possibly can, that's something that is really important to me in the future. I mean, it was really, I found it really good that the majority of the people involved in this showcase were like female comedians. Like that was something that I kind of, it was important to me to at least have like a 50-50 sort of billing of like male to female, just because I think comedy is quite a male dominated environment and stuff. And it's like, you know, the balances they are readjusting themselves like more and more, like, you know, there are more and more brilliant female comedians and stuff about. But yeah, it's like, you know, I'm really glad that I achieved that for this showcase anyway, to kind of help that even more. But yeah, if I can make it more diverse in the future, then yeah, that's something I'm definitely passionate on working on and everything. So yeah.